Our fourth video is Control through Pain or Pleasure. It will be helpful to distinguish between technology and technopoly. The latter is a cult, an ideology, and a totalitarian belief system. If you are fortunate to live in a part of the world not being devastated by civil war or governed by kleptocrats, then your brand of technological totalitarianism is more likely to resemble not the dystopian and brutal world of George Orwell's 1984, fashioned after the Soviet Gulag, but rather the self-destructive, pleasure-seeking playground of Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, a dystopian novel published in 1932, set in London. It portrays a society operating on the principles of mass production and Pavlovian conditioning, a world of genetically modified babies, boundless consumption, casual sex, and drugs. In October 1949, following the publication of 1984, Huxley wrote to George Orwell telling him how fine and profoundly important the book is. In his letter to Orwell, he predicted, "Within the next generation, I believe that the world's leaders will discover that infant conditioning and narco-hypnosis are more efficient as instruments of government than clubs and prisons, and that the lust for power can be just as completely satisfied by suggesting to people into loving their servitude as by flogging them and kicking them into obedience." Neil Postman, an American sociologist, describes the two social scenarios in his book, Amusing Ourselves to Death, Public Discourse in the Age of Show Business. He writes, "We were keeping our eye on 1984. When the year came, and the prophecy didn't, thoughtful Americans sang softly in praise of themselves. The roots of liberal democracy had held. Wherever else the terror had happened, we at least had not been visited by Orwellian nightmares. But we had forgotten that alongside Orwell's dark vision, there was another, slightly older, slightly less well-known, equally chilling, Aldous Huxley's Brave New World." Contrary to common belief, even among the educated, Huxley and Orwell did not prophesy the same thing. Orwell warns that we will be overcome by an externally imposed oppression. But in Huxley's vision, no big brother is required to deprive people of their autonomy, maturity, and history. As he saw it, people will come to love their oppression, to adore the technologies that undo their capacities to think. What Orwell feared were those who would ban books. What Huxley feared was that there would be no reason to ban a book, for there would be no one who wanted to read one. Orwell feared those who would deprive us of information. Huxley feared those who would give us so much that we would be reduced to passivity and egoism. Orwell feared that the truth would be concealed from us. Huxley feared the truth would be drowned in a sea of irrelevance. Orwell feared we would become a captive culture. Huxley feared we would become a trivial culture. As Huxley remarked in Brave New World Revisited, the civil libertarians and rationalists who are ever on the alert to oppose tyranny fail to take into account man's almost infinite appetite for distractions. In Orwell's 1984, people are controlled by inflicting pain. In Brave New World, they are controlled by inflicting pleasure. In short, Orwell feared that what we fear will ruin us. Huxley feared that what we desire will ruin us. And who, asked Postman, would take arms against a sea of amusements. Anyway, Neil Postman's book is about the possibility that Huxley, not Orwell, was right.